Hi guys, welcome to Verbling. My name is Joe, and today we're going to be speaking about what problems we face when learning English or another language. So, if you're wondering how you can get a reservation for this class, I'm going to show you. So if you take a look at my screen, and here, this is what you're looking at, live feed of the video of the class. And up here you'll see get reservations. So if you click on that, it shows a few ways of how to get reservations for free. So the main way, and the way that I would encourage most of you to do, is by inviting your friends. So you have a special link that is specific to you. As you can see, it has a special number. So if you copy that and post it on your Facebook, post it on your Twitter, email it to your friends, whatever, if you send it to them and they sign up for Verbling through that link, then you're going to get a free reservation, which will appear right here. Now, if you don't want to wait to do that, or if you don't have a lot of friends and you still want reservations, there's another way, which is not the free way, which is the way where you pay. So it's only $25 a month, and you get unlimited class reservations. So that's for whatever language, English, Spanish, and hopefully we hope to have other languages out soon. But those are some ways to get reservations in these classes, because as you guys know, or if you don't know, they fill up very quickly. And there are only 9 spots per class. So sometimes you're not guaranteed a spot. But if you have reservations, you are guaranteed a spot if you reserve them and use those reservations. But a little bit about me. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Right now I go to school in Tucson, Arizona. And it looks like we have some people joining right now. All right. Anastasia and Davi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi.
Good, fine, thanks.
Good, good. Where are you guys from?
I'm from Brazil. Sorry.
That's okay. And Anastasia, where are you from?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. All right.
Yeah, but I'm Russian.
You're Russian. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it looks like we have some more people joining us right now. I don't think this class might not fill up because it's kind of at a weird hour, and it tells me that there are 8 people here right now, and not all of them are in the class. It looks like we have Blanca, Gianluca, and Lito. Are you guys there? Can you hear me?
Hi, Joe. I can hear you.
All right. Hi. How's it going?
It's going well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Okay. So, I think you guys are the only ones here, which is fine. It just means you guys get more speaking time. So we'll go ahead and get started if everybody's ready. We might have some more people joining, but that's okay. The first thing that I want to do before we get into the class topic is have you guys introduce yourselves by saying your name, country, and the languages that you're learning. So if it's English, if it's only English, that's okay. But I'll go first. My name's Joe from the United States, and I'm learning Spanish and Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with Anastasia.
Okay, my name is Anastasia. Well, you can call me Anastasia. I don't know, just 2 variants in English language. I'm from Kazakhstan. I'm Russian. My native language is Russian. I'm fluent in English. Well, I know I'm start learning Spanish here in Verbling, and I know a little bit German. I studied at university, and I know a little bit Kazakh language.
Kazakh language. Okay, and is Kazakh language similar to Russian?
No.
No?
Well, the no, it's a different well, here in Kazakhstan, the Kazakh language is like official language of there,
Mm,
but Russian is like international language because many people speak Russian language here in Kazakhstan because Kazakhstan was a part of USSR. Uh, that's why. And just for example, Russian students in Kazakhstan study Kazakh language. Well, also in Kazakh learn also study Kazakh language and both Russians. So we study like three languages at school: Russian, Kazakh, and English.
okay. Huh, interesting. Okay, so it's not a dialect, it's a different language.
Yeah, it's well, we have like we use I don't know how to say like Kirillitsa. You know, it's not Latin alphabet, but it's like Russian. We saw
Oh,
like Kirillitsa. I don't know how to say in English. This one.
um, the word, like the fancy word for writing is orthography.
Yeah, I guess so. And but there are some specific sounds in Kazakh language that we don't have in Russian.
Okay, okay, so that would
Like
be phonetics, I believe, which are the
yeah,
sounds that you make with the language.
yeah. For example, in Russian alphabet there are 33 letters. In Kazakh, it will be 42 letters.
Wow, okay, so Kazakh has six more.
Yeah, kind of. But uh, I'm not fluent in Kazakh. And just I know a little bit like what we study at school.
Uh-huh. Okay, interesting, interesting. Okay, cool. Next we have Blanca.
Yes, I'm Blanca from Mexico. Of course, I speak Spanish and I'm learning English.
Okay, cool. Welcome. Um,
Thank you.
uh-huh. Next we have Davi.
I'm David from Brazil. I speak Portuguese and learning English and a little bit of Spanish, but I'm not interested in learning Spanish. But because I don't like it, it's a very fast language. I don't think it's a nice language. I don't like it, but I know that I must learn it because there are many countries that uh, use it as its official language. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and
So
I got approved on school in
so then you
Spanish.
need to learn Russian language. There are
Yeah,
many
to
countries that speaks Russian. No, I'm kidding.
well, I know that Chinese is a language that's tending to grow, right?
Yeah.
Chinese. But I'm taking Spanish classes this year
Good.
because I got reproved, so I have to take it again.
Uh-huh.
But,
But hey, you speak Portuguese, and 80% of the grammar is similar to Spanish. So,
it's similar. That's
yeah,
very similar.
80%, which is a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
but familiar languages, I prefer English.
Yeah, okay.
I
That's
don't know.
totally fine. No, yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Welcome. Uh,
Thanks.
Next we have Gianluca.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. Well, my name is Luca. I was born in Italy. Now I'm now living in Germany, and now I'm in Finland to visit my parents. I speak Italian, German, Spanish, and a little English.
A little English.
Yeah,
I think that's funny because I feel like you speak more than a little.
yeah. I am a little frozen. The temperature is now really hot here in Finland.
And you were what? My light just went off.
Okay, I'm frozen. The temperature here is really cold in Finland.
Oh, in Finland. Ah, okay. So you're living in Finland right now.
Spanish, I like Spanish. Spanish is a very beautiful language. I don't know Portuguese. I don't know nothing about Portuguese because I want to go to Brazil for the next World Cup. I want to learn Portuguese.
Ah, that's really cool. Yeah. Because Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese are all pretty similar, or at least they sound similar.
I'm agree with Anastasia. Russian is really complicated. I try to learn Russian, but they were difficult. Difficult. The alphabet, the sounds, it's a great mess to me.
Yeah, I know. It's just even sometimes for me, like using grammar, like I'm just have problems. Even like a native speaker.
But the vodka is adorable in Moscow.
It's what?
The vodka,
The
Vodka.
vodka.
adorable.
It's it's a stereotype that all Russian drink vodka. I don't drink alcohol at all. I'm too into healthy lifestyle.
Hey,
Even though I'm Russian.
that's a good lifestyle. I'm trying to turn on my light because it.
Anastasia was saying that even being a native speaker, she has problems to speak in Russian, right?
And well, sometimes just a lot of rules
Sorry.
the Russian language has, and sometimes I just make mistakes. No, just like normal. Like I think you also do in your languages mistakes sometimes. Like when you just speak faster, and maybe when you're
Yeah.
just writing, you just think, oh, what kind of letter it should be, because there are many endings in Russian language. You should change all the time, and sometimes it's like get frustrated.
In very lots of mistakes too in Portuguese because mostly in verbal conjugation because there are many forms of verbs, past, most than perfect past. There are very forms on verbal conjugation in Portuguese. So often people make mistakes in Portuguese too, as you said in
Yeah, I
Russian.
think it's like in every language, but
Hmm.
Russian is different because it's have a different type of the alphabet, not like maybe Portuguese, Spanish, or
Yeah,
English. It's kind of
Yeah.
different, and there are some other like different letters. That's
Yes.
why.
yeah. That's the problem with Russian. The alphabet, the sounds, it's really strange. The grammar, the intonation, some combination, really strange to me. Even the Russian is changing city, each city is changing the words. It's really mistake. The Russian, the people who lives in Moscow is different. The Russian, the people who lives in Saint Petersburg, and that's someone in Russia.
Uh-huh. Even they just every rule has an exception, and in this exception they have just other exception. So many exceptions. That's why it's like complicated to learn
Yeah.
Russian, I think.
Joe,
Yeah.
in your opinion, what is more difficult, Portuguese or Spanish?
For me, well, okay, so I learned Spanish before Portuguese, and I've been studying Spanish for 6 years. And I think Portuguese is more difficult because of the pronunciation. The grammar, I understand everything, a lot of it makes sense, or almost all of it makes sense. The hardest part is the pronunciation because in Portuguese there are certain sounds that I don't think we have in English, or that we don't have in English, and they're hard sometimes for me to make. Like for instance, in English when you say no, but in Portuguese you say now with like a with as a like a in Spanish you call it a tilde. I don't remember what it's called in Portuguese, but it's spelled N and then A with the squiggly. I don't know what it's called. In Spanish it's called a tilde. In English I don't know what it's called. In Portuguese I don't know what it's called. Um, but it's like that, and it's like a no. I don't know, Davi, can you pronounce it for us so we can hear a native speaker?
And no. So
No. So it's like,
there, yes, nasal sound. There are other words like palavrão,
uh-huh,
pão, which is bridge. Yes, pão,
pão.
pão.
Oh, that's bread, right?
Difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's I don't know. I mean, Spanish, like for me, like I learned the pronunciation well, I think. And it's not too difficult. Like there aren't a lot of rules, I guess, for it. So for me, it's a lot easier. But
For instance, uh, for Portuguese speakers who will learn Spanish, is that Portuguese speakers say much often with nasal sounds. Okay, and when you will speak in Spanish, you have to control yourself to not say nasal sounds, and
mhm.
that's difficult. But
Yeah, I know. I feel like that would probably be a problem for a lot of people. But yeah, it's hard because like I mean, it happens that way when I speak with people who English was their first language and they're learning Spanish, and they pronounce Spanish words um, with like English phonetics or English sounds. So like instead of saying like yo voy a la tienda. So like there I'm like trying to pronounce the words as they would be in Spanish, but then there are people who say yo voy a la tienda. So like the O's and the A's and the vowels are the sounds are different. So you can tell. Um, so it's kind of funny. I think it's funny. Lido put haha in the chat, and it is something funny, which we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But
Joe, uh,
yes,
why did you decide to learn Portuguese instead of your language?
instead of another language,
Yes.
I decided so. Well, kind of two reasons. One, because at my university, my degree program requires me to study Portuguese, but I changed it so I technically don't have to take it anymore. But the reason I wanted to take it was because um, Brazil's economy is going up, which means lots of opportunities with Brazilians. And even though they might be learning English, it's a form of respect, in my opinion, to learn their language as well. So then, we can either converse in English or Portuguese. And then the second reason, because I know Spanish or I've studied Spanish for such a long time, that Portuguese is so similar that it wouldn't be very hard for me. So I'm in a class it's at an accelerated pace, which means it goes a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the equivalent of a 101 and 102 class, I think. So it's supposed to be 2 semesters, but they put it into 1 semester, so it goes really fast. And the grammar is so similar. And since I learned Spanish as a second language, I understand like, oh, that's subjuntivo, that's imperfecto, that's pretérito, or like all of the verb forms is what I'm referring to. So because of that, Portuguese is really easy, and I also think it's a really interesting language.
I suppose that
Okay.
it's in Latin America it's easy to talk or in Spanish or in Portuguese. In Europe here is different because you have different kind of languages, German, Italian, French, Russian, and it's difficult. That's the reason that you must to learn English. Is a universal language you could communicate with different people who live in Poland, in Netherlands, Switzerland.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I really like about Europe because all those countries are so close. So a lot of times students will speak three, four languages
Yeah.
because they can, or because they have to. And I
For
kind of
example,
yeah.
in school in Germany, I studied Spanish, German, English, or if I want French.
At my high school, all we had was they got rid of German, and all they had was French and Spanish. And then they just when I left, they started to offer Mandarin.
Mandarin,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
Mm,
it kind of stinks because since I live in the United States and the United States is so big, we have Canada at the top, which only in some parts they speak French, and then Mexico at the bottom, where they speak Spanish. So those are the two languages, French and Spanish, that most people.
learning in States.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Some places Mandarin too, like in California, and I'm guessing around the country as well, because Mandarin is the number one spoken language in the world, and it's really
Uh,
good
but
to.
I visit Miami, and most people who live in Miami talking in Spanish all the time in Miami.
In Miami, yeah, in Miami too, because there are a lot of Cubans there. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that schools should offer more languages, because then it's because if they only offer Spanish and French, then the school is basically saying, oh, these are the only languages that you can learn. But, a lot of people want to learn German or Russian or Chinese or Vietnamese or Japanese or whatever other language, and I think that languages are important and they open up a lot of doors. But it's hard, I think, because in the United States, we don't, in my opinion, we don't spend as much money on education as we should, which stinks for people like me who like to study and want to study and want to go to school. Um, one of my professors in my class today told me that in the past 10 years, the cost of higher education, the cost of universities has
Mm-hmm.
gone up by 79%. So it's like a really big increase. So like for my university, it's about $20,000 a year.
That's pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive, and um, it used to be like $10,000 a year, or less than that, like $7,000 a year. But I don't know, schools get less and less funding, and so the universities raise their prices, and students can't do a lot about it. And so we end up paying a lot more. And so a lot of people,
So
yeah,
you just take students' loans?
yeah, I was about to mention that actually. A lot of students do that. They also offer scholarships, which I got a scholarship that pays for half, and
Mm-hmm.
my parents are helping pay for the rest. So my scholarship covers about 10,000, and my parents are paying about 10,000.
Mm-hmm. Is it hard to get scholarship in the United States?
Um,
Like for you, like I mean, like for Americans, like oh,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's okay. Well, it's like for the scholarship that I got wasn't too hard, but my year was the last year that they offered it, so they no longer offer it.
uh-huh.
Um, but normally, like if I hadn't gotten the one that I got, I was offered another one for $5,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just for my grades. So they give out little ones like that, but the one that I got was kind of big, and those are
Yeah.
harder to get.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gotcha.
so it's
Oh.
difficult.
Mm-hmm. So, but there are many like foreigner students who came to America and they just have scholarships. I've heard about this one.
Yeah, that's because a lot of universities like to emphasize that they're diverse. Do you guys know what that means? Diverse?
Uh, kind of. I've heard about this one, but just like
Different?
integration between
Different, yeah.
countries.
Exactly. Diverse could mean people from different countries. Yeah, exactly. Or people that are of different races. So like Caucasian, African American, Hispanic. Yeah, so different ethnicities.
Why it's so important to have such as like politics in the university
Why
policy?
why is it
Why
important?
it's important, yeah, to have such as policy in the
uh,
universities.
to have like diversity? Um,
Yes, exactly. Because like I was looking for some USA colleges,
mhm.
universities, and they just every college, almost have scholarship for international students, and I was like, wow.
I think the reason for that is because um, a lot of people like to relate to other people. So that's just like a psychological thing. So
Uh
like
huh.
for example, you might if I told you, hey, there are 10 Russians at my school, then you might think, oh, there are Russians at Joe's school. I want to go there because
Uh huh.
you're Russian, so you can relate to them. So when schools
Mhm.
say that they're more diverse and they say, oh, we have Russians, we have Brazilians, we have Mexicans, we have Argentinians,
Mhm.
we have Italians, we have all of
Yeah.
those types of people, then
Mhm.
they can market their school to a wider or a larger audience.
Yeah. Mhm.
And
Gotcha.
then, yeah,
Mhm. Thanks
exactly.
for explanation.
Yeah, of course. Um, okay, so we forgot one person, Lido. Will you introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, my name is Julio. My nickname is Lito Martinez. I'm from Argentina and I'm learning Spanish. I mean English and now Italian.
Oh, you're learning Italian too.
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool. Okay, and is it difficult so far, or is it easy?
I don't know.
Okay, okay. All
Then
right.
I
who
just
knows?
I,
Who knows? You just started?
yeah.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Italian is no difficult. It's so similar to Spanish. For example, my first trip to in Rome, I only talk in Spanish, and the people here are able to understand me. But we went to try to explain that it's not really different.
Yeah, when I did the same thing when I was in Rome, in Venice, and Verona, I spoke in Spanish and people understood me better than English.
Yeah, yeah. The people prefer. Please, could you talk in Spanish, please, not in
Mhm.
English?
Yeah. It's something really interesting. It's cool how they're connected a little bit. Okay, so I think that was kind of a long introduction, but that's okay. It was interesting, and you guys were speaking, which is good. So
Mhm.
what we're gonna do, we have 30 minutes left, which is fine. Um, what we're gonna do today is have sort of a discussion about what problems you guys face while learning English or while you're learning your other languages. So then we can figure out what the problems are and figure out some solutions to them and try and help you guys fix them. So basically, what we're going to be doing is helping each other out because
Okay.
there might be, like, Lido might have a problem and Davi might be able to help him find a solution to that or something like that. Um, so, um, we're going to divide. So the question is, what problems do you face while learning English or another language? So we're just going to start. I guess it doesn't matter if we do English or another language. We can do them at the same time, and we can just mention, the problems you have with English and the problems you have with German, Italian, Spanish, etc. So we're going to break language up into 4 categories: writing, listening, speaking, reading, and wait, hold on, let me write them down. Because
Reading, speaking, listening,
yeah, reading, speaking, listening.
listening, and writing.
So 4.
Yeah, four.
Okay. I couldn't think of that in mind. Okay, so we have 4 categories. So we'll start with let's start with reading first. So the category of language that we're talking about right now is reading. So what are some problems that you guys face while reading English, German, whatever language? What are some problems that you guys face?
Mm, some unknown words, maybe.
Unknown words, okay.
Words.
Anything else?
I guess
Technical,
everyone. Okay, go
sorry,
ahead.
not
Go
me.
ahead. Go ahead.
Technical vocabulary.
Unknown words and technical vocabulary. Okay.
Well, sometimes the problem is related to the comma, the point, the paragraph,
Punctuation.
punctuation. Yeah, thanks.
But I think it's more about writing.
Pardon. Yeah.
The punctuation. So like for example, I'm gonna write some in the verbling chat. So like, I don't know. So like these, and like these,
Yeah.
Colon, semicolon.
Okay. So that would be called punctuation. Okay.
Sometimes when
Anything?
you're reading the sounds are similar.
Sounds are similar.
Yeah, some words are similar, and you're tending to confuse the words. And finally, you pronounce or you're reading different words that people don't understand what are you meaning with that word.
Okay. So you see a word. So for example, the word see. If I say the word see, which word am I talking about?
Don't
Like
know about like weather or just about like look.
exactly. So that's what you're talking about, Gianluca?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's a problem. I don't know if it's just for Portuguese speakers, but the logical arrangement of a phrase. For instance, in a question in Portuguese, we say we can. In English, you must say can we. Okay, you got it.
So
The
word order.
word order.
Yeah, it's the same in Spanish.
Yeah, that was confusing because I always wanted, because in English we'll say, "Can I have a glass of water?" But then in Spanish it's like, or Portuguese it's like, "I can have a glass of water." It's kind of like you ask it like a question. There's no word for like can or something like that.
It's all about intonation, right?
Intonation. Good
That's
word.
right.
Yeah. In Intonation. Hold on, let me spell that right. There we go. Intonation. So,
Yes. No, I mean
um,
like you write it
yeah.
perfectly.
Can you explain a little bit? What is intonation?
Intonation is just stress, how you just stress words in the sentences. For example, in a question, you have different stress words. It's like, sometimes it's like rise and fall. I don't know how to say this.
Yeah, no,
The
you're exactly
intonation
right.
up and down, like, for example, like, I don't know. I have a glass of water. Can I have a glass of water? Like, you see
Exactly.
the difference, like,
You can hear the difference where it's like, "Can I have a glass of water?" It's
uh-huh. Kind of like that. That's his intonation.
exact. So does everybody understand that intonation? So a lot of languages, I think, does Russian work that way?
Um,
Or is
well,
it
yeah. Oh, yeah, also the same, like,
same way? Oh, so it's like there aren't words that you attach that make it a question, but rather it's the intonation that makes it a question?
yeah, it's just all about intonation. I think it's like in
Ah.
every language.
Well, I wouldn't say every language because the only reason I know is because I'm in a linguistics class, which
Uh-huh.
linguistics is the study of languages,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
there are some languages where if you want to ask a question, you attach a word sometimes.
What
Um,
do you mean attach a word?
so, like for example, let's say um, this is going to be kind of a this I'm just making up this example using English. So,
Okay.
um, I have a glass of water. So that's the main part. That's the main phrase. And then if I want
Uh-huh.
to make it a question, I also add on the word, I don't know, questioned, or some word that means question.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Now I
it's
understand.
okay, okay. So yeah, in the language you just add an extra word, and that word is only used when you're trying to make a sentence a question.
Interesting. I have never heard about this one.
Yeah, it's weird. Some languages work like that. I can't remember the names of the languages because we've talked about a lot. But some
Mm-hmm.
American Indian languages, I think, work that way. Yeah.
You can take
Interesting.
advantage of this, I think. That word, magical word that says if it's a question or an affirmation. As if you're accusing someone of you took that glass of water. If the people get angry, you say it's a question, so you have no problem.
That's
It's
true.
really
You
good.
you could do that.
Or just before the sentences, just put this question and then just say the sentences. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Huh, that's funny. Yeah, it's interesting. There are words that work like that, and also like I think almost all of us. I don't know about Russian because I've never studied Russian,
Uh-huh.
but for the rest of you guys, like Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, you have verb conjugation. So you conjugate verbs, meaning like so
Yeah.
you say like
I am, she is, he is.
yeah, exactly. Like I go, she goes. So like you
Mm-hmm.
add the es and then
Mm-hmm.
for like he or she or it. Um, but in like and then like to make it past tense, you use a different form. So like I went, she
Yeah.
went. So go
Mm-hmm.
changes to went. Um, but in some American Indian languages, the way it works is you use like the verb like so you'd say like I and then the verb to go and then you'd add a word that means past. So it's weird,
Interesting.
like you attach words and then it changes the meaning from present to past or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It's really interesting. That's why I love languages. It's really cool to study those kinds of things.
Yeah. What is your specialty? Like,
So
how,
in
like, yeah, but you have a bachelor degree in what? What do you study?
yes, yeah.
Do
So
you
you would
say
say
like,
what's your major?
what is your major? Okay,
Uh,
what is your major?
so my major is general studies. And what that means is kind of like a general. It's hard to explain because at my university, the way it works is um, I have one focus area. So this area I focus on. And so I take
Uh-huh.
like 10 classes or 15 classes here. Then I
Uh-huh.
have three other little classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this one is world language or world no global understanding and cultures. So I can take Spanish, Portuguese, French, Russian. I could take a class that is about Russia, like the history of Russia, the history of
Uh-huh.
Brazil, whatever. Um, and then I have three other areas, which one is business, the
Mm-hmm.
other is arts and media, so like graphic
Mm-hmm.
design, film, photography, and then the
Mm-hmm.
last one is like science, technology, and health. So I can take classes on health. I can take science classes, or I can take math classes.
Okay, but after when you finish your bachelor degree, whom you can work? Like as whom? I don't
Um,
because like
maybe,
for example, I don't know, like in Russia and Kazakhstan, we have like for example, uh, you're just economist. I don't know, just
hmm
teacher, like specific
yeah,
occupation. But like in
specific
America, it's
occupation.
like, but it's like a lot of so it's like management. Okay, so how you
Yeah.
can, you know.
So yeah, no, I understand your question. So that's what's cool. That's the only thing I think cool about well, one of the cool things about the education system in the United States. That's
Uh
one of the
huh.
cool things is the first 2 years everybody takes the same general
Classes.
classes. Yeah, so like you have to take a math class, you have to take language class, you have to take a reading class, you take a writing class. So everybody, even if I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry and you have one in education, we both have the same general requirements, is what they're called.
Yeah,
Uh,
understand.
and then you focus in something this last 2 years. So when I graduate, since mine's general studies and I have all these areas,
Yes.
I'm hoping that I can work in lots of different areas. So maybe making movies, um,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe designing websites, or maybe building websites, or maybe managing a business, or maybe working as an interpreter for Spanish, Portuguese, or
Mm-hmm.
some language.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason that this is my major, so I can do all of these things, hopefully.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. I just changed it about a month ago, because when it was originally my major was Spanish Portuguese, and they I had like a guideline, or not like a guideline. I had like a set of classes I had to take. So I had to take um, Portuguese 305 and Spanish 330, Spanish 350. So all these classes, and I thought, hey, I like Portuguese and I like Spanish, but I don't like the style of the classes. I'd rather the reason that I changed it was because honestly I wanted to go on Verbling and practice with native speakers, or like go on the friend section and
Uh-huh.
do that instead of sitting in a class and speaking with people who are not native speakers. Because, for example, there are people in my Spanish class who they speak Spanish well, but they don't try to, like I was saying earlier, they don't pronounce things correctly. They pronounce them with English phonetics, but they
Mm-hmm.
pronounce Spanish words with English phonetics. So, like the example I gave earlier, yo voy a la tienda para comprar cosas, which
Mm-hmm.
that sentence means I go to the store to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason that I changed my major too, is because I don't want to take Spanish classes anymore. I don't want to
Yeah.
take Portuguese anymore. I want to practice on my own. Like,
With native speakers, yes, is the best
exactly.
way to improve your language skills.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's how
Yeah,
I
I think also the same. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it is the better way. I mean, I I did it with Spanish because I used to work for or I started working for Verbling a year ago in February, and I worked as
mm-hmm.
an administrator and a tutor, and so I spoke to people in Spanish every day, native speakers,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that my level of fluency increased a lot. I wouldn't consider myself fluent because sometimes I still have to think and I still have to work on my pronunciation and other things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's how I got where I am.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it
Cool.
is really interesting. Yeah. Um, okay, so any other questions about that?
Uh, no.
No.
So Joanna said, is it seen as useless? And I'm thinking that she's referring to general studies. And yes, I think it can be, because people say like, oh, you did general studies, which means like you studied random things, um, and got a degree with it. So people might, um, I don't know, they might have like random classes. So it can be looked at as useless, but um, I think if I were to apply somewhere and the employer said, "Oh, you have a degree in general studies, why is that?" and then I explained, just like I explained to you guys, then the
Mm-hmm.
employer would
Well,
understand.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think it depends on the person, because some people do it because it's easy and they treat it as like an easy route through college, but I'm trying to treat it as what it should be treated as a way to study multiple areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By general studies, you mean a college course.
General studies is a college major. So,
Okay,
do you,
okay.
yeah,
Here
do you,
we have a general subjects on before college. Okay, before you go to college, you have general studies,
okay.
biology, chemistry.
Uh-huh.
and etc. And general studies here in Brazil we call administração,
Administration.
administration, administration. Yes, management.
Ah, okay.
Because everyone who doesn't know what to do does management course. So
That's the same here, but with
yeah,
business. We say like people who study business, a lot of people like if they don't know what they're going to study, they
business,
study business. Yeah.
business, business. Okay, yeah, yes, but a good course too.
Yeah.
Most people do it and don't work on this area. Work on another area. Here in Brazil, it's common to study some area and work on a completely different area.
Hmm.
As for instance, I know some psychologists that are nurse, something like that.
Uh-huh.
No, nurse no, because you can't be nurse, but like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are people who study business and are actually serious about it, but a lot of times that's the major, at least in the United States, like people say, "Oh, you're studying business," meaning like, "Oh, you probably don't know what you want to do." Um, so yeah, that's
Really?
And
yeah, it's true. But that's I
yeah,
didn't know it was like that in
and,
Brazil too. That's so cool, but
yes,
it's administration. Huh.
yes, yes.
Right, that's interesting. Um, okay, so back to what you guys said. So I wrote down what you said. So unknown words, technical words, punctuation, sounds are similar, and word order. So, what are some solutions for these problems? What do you guys think? I have a few, but I want to hear first what you guys think.
Just study unknown words. If you see, just use your just dictionary or just online dictionary.
Yeah,
You can just like pronounce this but like punctuation. You just need to go to the grammar book and read about this one stuff if you don't understand. Word order, again, study. It's
exactly.
all about study, everything you can find in the internet. Well, I use Google a lot, like Google everything,
Hmm.
so it
For
helps me a lot to know.
Yeah, good.
for the vocabulary problem, I think that when you get at some point that you know some words, when you're reading the text, you can grasp what the word means by the context.
Yeah, that
That's
too.
also
There's there's
uh,
also my friend showed this to me the other day. Um,
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, there are two ways. So the first way, what you guys are saying is absolutely right. Study, use Google. Um, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I've shared it with some of my other classes, but I don't know if you guys were there. But what I'm doing this with the languages that I'm learning and English. English to help you guys, the other languages to help myself. But I'm making this dictionary, and so I'm writing down the words. For English, I'm writing down the words that you guys ask me or don't know, so that you guys can learn them better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing the same thing for myself with Spanish and Portuguese. Um, but one recommendation is to, when you're reading news articles or books or whatever you're reading in the language that you're learning, is to maybe pick out two words, that's it. Look up the definitions of them, write sentences with them, and then store them in your dictionary like the one that I'm making. And then over time, maybe you can get up to 5 words, and then you're going to just learn vocabulary just like that. And so if you're writing them in sentences and writing your own definitions, then you're going to learn them better and you're going to remember them. Oh, okay, that's what that means. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one good way. Another good way, actually, if you're using a computer, and if you're using the web browser Chrome, there's an extension that you can download that's called Language Immersion. I'm gonna see if I can find it for
right.
you guys. Yeah,
Can you write down then
yeah,
I can
I'm gonna
find like.
pull it up real quick, just to make sure I give.
Okay.
It's called language immersion. Here we go. Language immersion for Chrome. So it's an extension. So I haven't downloaded this yet, but it has some good reviews. It has a 3.5 star. But it says like the first review, great add-on, very useful for casual learning, good for picking up vocabulary. So what you can do is add this to Chrome. So I'll copy the name for you. And the way it works, let's see if I can download it real quick and show you, because it's really interesting the way it works. Okay, so it's added. So I'm going to paste this, and the way it works is, so I'm going to type in, I don't know, let's type in, let's find a Spanish, Spanish article. Since my default language is in English, we have to find a different language. So, noticias de Argentina. So, news from Argentina. So, or actually, no, the way that you can do it is, so if I just go to news, like Google News, and so I'm reading this top story, and I think, okay, I like this story, but I'd like to learn some vocabulary in Spanish. So if you go up here and click on it, and you can change your level, so novice, intermediate, and fluent. Pick a language. So I chose Spanish. It's on. Now, what it did, I don't know if you guys saw, but it changed some of the languages into Spanish. So right here, Justin Anthony Kennedy, the Tribunal's likely swing vote pidió ayer whether the court. So even though it's in English and Spanish, they translated some words so you can learn some of those. And obviously, if you think that you're really good, you can go up a little bit. And then it just highlighted them really quickly. But if you scroll over, you can see that it changed a lot of them to Spanish. Now, if I think I'm fluent, it translates the whole thing to Spanish. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool way, an easy way to pick up some vocabulary and to practice. One, if you read the news on a daily basis in your native language, then you can still do that, but also pick up some words in the language that you're learning. So I'm gonna try this, and I'll let you guys know how it works, and you guys should try it too if you like it. But it's called Language Immersion for Chrome, and it's an extension.
Yeah, I will try. Sounds great.
Yeah.
To use this. How did you know about this one?
I found out about this last night. My friend who's learning Chinese said, "Hey, dude, you should check this out," because he knows that I'm learning Portuguese and Spanish, and he said it's a really cool tool, and so I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna try it out, I think, with Portuguese. I'll provide the link. Let me go back to it.
And also sometimes if you just learn some new words, you just can put in the Google pictures and see what this word and remember the with picture. It also just help to remember this word.
Yeah, that is a great way. It's funny that you mention that because I want to build a website. So kind of what I was talking about, general studies, I want to study computer engineering or computer programming so I can build a website because I think that there are dictionaries out there that will help you. But, sometimes, like, for example, if I go to, so if I open up a new tab with an English dictionary and there's a word that I don't know, like, I don't know, socialism. Or no, how about the word compromise? So if you don't know what that means and you're reading it and you type it in here, so then it says a settlement of differences by mutual concessions. So now that probably just confused you even more. Because, okay, what's a settlement? Okay, what are mutual concessions? What does that mean? So the way that the language that dictionaries use to define words is often confusing for people learning that language. So what I was thinking is to make a dictionary kind of like this. So catchy, usually used to describe a phrase or part of a song that sticks in your head and is easy to say. So if we type in, so there's catchy, that's in my words. So if we type in catchy here, let's see what comes up.
Oh,
Pleasing and easily remembered.
that's Joe. That's word are using only in USA or are using in Britain, in Canada, or South Africa.
That's a good question. Um, let's see.
I think in Britain, for example, I've never heard that the people are using that kind of words. But I don't know.
No, you're probably right. Um, catchy in UK. I don't know actually. Um, I mean, I don't know. I've only been to England and I've only been there for a few days, so I don't know very much about their slang or their vocabulary. But I don't know. That's a good question, Gianluca. I don't think it sounds like you're probably right. It sounds like you're right. I don't think they use it. Um, so I don't know.
No.
Hmm. But what I was saying is I think that it's easier when you use pictures and simpler definitions. You learn vocabulary a lot easier.
But in your opinion, what is the best way to learn another language?
In my opinion, what is the best
For
way?
example, watching movies, talking to the people, living in a English-speaking country or world.
So to answer your question, it depends on a few factors. The first factor is the way that you learn. For example, um, myself, I'm a kinesthetic learner, which means I like to do things hands-on. So for example, if somebody says, okay, Joe, today you're going to learn how to play soccer. And I've never played soccer before. I want to go out and like get a soccer ball and play rather than listen to somebody talk about it or watch a video on it or look at photos on it. I'd rather go out and do it. So that's kinesthetic. Now, if you're a visual learner, then you can look at pictures of people playing soccer or maybe a video and say, oh, okay, that's how you play soccer, and then go do it because you watched it and you learn that way. And then auditory
That's
would be
practical. That's practical.
what?
That's practical things.
What, kinesthetic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is practical. It's I think it's the best way. Or people learn best using that way or that method.
Yes.
But
I
yeah,
remember. I remember when I was in New York to visit my aunt. Um, a group of a friend of my cousin are talking all the time a very strange language, very strange slang. The black people are talking all the time in very strange slangs and words. I don't understand nothing.
okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, Caucasian people and African Americans, not all African Americans, but they have different dialects, I think you would say, or
Yeah, different dialects. Yeah,
I
different
think I
slang,
think that's the correct word in this case.
dialect.
Yeah, dialects. Yeah, so um but the best way to learn a language I think is to
To live in a country.
well, it's not only that because I know people who live in the United States and come on Verbling and come to my classes, and they still are improving their English. So it's not only to live in a country, but it's to immerse yourself. So, for example, maybe spending 2 hours a day only listening to news, music, TV, or watching TV in English. 3 hours the entire time. Um, and also speaking to people on Verbling the entire time in English. Like, for example, these classes, if you don't speak Italian or Spanish or Portuguese at all during them, then that's immersion. That's the best way to learn, rather than translating. So, like for example, if you said, okay, what does I don't know, what does this word mean in English, and you say it to me in Italian, that would be translating. So then it takes away that immersion thing. or that immersion process, because in my opinion, immersion is the best way to learn a language because that's how babies learn languages. Um, that's how everybody learns their first language.
Every people think that language is life. For
Language is
example,
life.
yeah, you need to feel how the British or North American people live, how they
Yeah,
expression their ideas and that kind of things.
exactly. So I think that the best ways to, um, learn the basics, practice with somebody like a native speaker for a little bit, then try and study the grammar rules a little bit. Then,
I've got a perception about the Portuguese. I don't know. I am correct, David. I think that Portuguese is a very happy language. People
happy.
all the time happy. People all the time related to the beach, hanging out, chilling out with the parks. Very, very. I don't know. Very
The
happy language.
the language sounds happy to me. Like eu estou muito ótimo, muito
Muito,
bom.
muito,
Like
muito garoto. Exatamente.
I,
I
I, read,
suppose so.
I heard about people that says that Portuguese sounds like French. Is that true?
I don't know. Like I only know how to
No,
say.
no. I don't think so. French. You know what? Oh, perhaps. No, no. What is the main difference? The Portuguese who talk, the people who live in Brazil and Portugal. It's the same or different Portuguese?
Uh, you want to know if the Portuguese, the Brazilian Portuguese and Portugal Portuguese is the same?
Yeah, yeah. But for
Uh,
example, American English is different sometimes the British English.
okay, there are a lot of differences now in terms of expressions. Uh, my Portuguese teacher was talking about her trip to Portugal. There are some words as dick,
Oh,
and she and she had trouble with it. So there are some expressions now from 2 years to now. Uh, there were unification of all countries that say Portuguese to say the same Portuguese. The same rules apply now to all countries that say that have the language as Portuguese, that have the Portuguese language. And now I don't believe there are many differences because of that.
yeah.
There are those expressions that are quite different, quite different.
But for example, if you compare Portuguese with Finnish, the national language
Between
of
all,
Finland, it's different. Finnish is cold, people is distant, it's not very cool, strange. And Portuguese, Spanish people are happy all the time, are funny. I don't know. I have that perception about the languages. I think Portuguese is happy, and Norwegian language, Finnish language is it's not really happy.
my God, yeah, I don't have how to say because it's the only language I know
No,
since
And English,
I,
and
I,
English.
I was always happy, happy speaker.
uh,
I don't know. Yeah,
but
but
Brazil has a very good weather and beaches. And here, for example, Finland, what we call snow, low temperatures, different.
now it's cold here
Yeah.
now, right
Here,
now.
here,
But on my city, it calls Rio Preto. Okay, Black River, Rio Preto. But you used to call it Hell Preto because hell preto because it like hell it's very hot here.
Ah,
sometimes.
Oh
Hell,
yeah.
Hell Preto instead
Rio
of
Preto.
Rio Preto. Hell
Rio.
of hell
Ah, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
because it's
Portuguese.
very
It's
hot here.
interesting. So interesting. I don't have time to study Portuguese. I suppose it's a very, very exotic, very interesting language.
Yes,
That,
it's a complex language, I think.
yeah, it is. I think next week for my Portuguese class we're learning future subjunctive or
Uh,
subjuntivo futuro or something like that.
how long are you studying Portuguese, Joe?
Well, I started in January
Huh?
and I finish with my class in May, but I want to keep studying afterwards.
You
Very
started
good.
this year.
Yeah.
No, you're
I,
good
I,
now.
Thanks.
I want to recommend David will be our teacher on Berlin to Portuguese.
Yes, you can do that.
I second that idea.
Surely.
Devi, you can apply, if you'd like.
Yes, I
Um,
like.
let's see. I'll send you the link real quick because I know
I,
we're looking for Portuguese teachers as well.
yeah,
I think
I
that
want,
there are no secrets on being a teacher of a language that you always say it.
yeah,
There,
yeah.
there's quite easy, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I want to visit Brazil for the next World Cup. I
me
need to
too.
talk in Portuguese.
Learn Gianluca. You should learn some Portuguese, and we'll practice, and then we'll call Davi, and then we'll all three practice. Help each other
I
out.
don't have, for example, here in Finland, it's really difficult to find people who talk in Spanish or Portuguese. It's difficult to me to find any people who teach me Portuguese or it's even more Spanish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Verbling offers Portuguese classes, and we already offer Spanish, so you can learn Spanish.
Yeah,
But Portuguese too, then you should definitely attend them, and you'll learn it.
yeah. It's a very, very, very happy, very sexy language, I suppose. The garota.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's sexy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I have to go
Okay.
because it's 10 p.m. here. But uh, thank you guys for
It's
staying. You guys are the last ones here.
2
Thank
Um,
you very
a.m.
much.
here.
oh my gosh, that's late. But
Yes.
it's been a fun class, and I
Yeah,
know we didn't really stay on the topic, so I might plan this class again in the
yeah,
future because I think with a lot more with if we're more focused on the topic, then it can be really beneficial to you guys.
But
Um,
I,
yeah.
but I think
Right.
that we talked a lot about the topic, mostly at the beginning when on
yeah,
the
Yeah.
about
yeah,
the
that's true.
topic. Oh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
My audio and video quality is good.
your video quality is bad because it freezes. Like
Hmm.
you'll be talking and then it'll be like,
Uh-huh. I get
but
it.
your audio, your microphone sounds really good. Other than that,
Okay.
it's good.
Okay, so I think that I can do lessons on Portuguese.
Yeah, you just have to fix if you can figure out like, are you using a wired connection, which is like
No,
this?
it's my internet provider. That's bad.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I'm trying to get a new one, but in my neighborhood it hasn't arrived yet.
Okay, okay, okay. But yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for speaking and staying till the end. And hopefully I see you guys tomorrow.
Okay,
Oh,
I'll be there.
what time is in USA?
Well, where I am in the USA, it's 10 p.m. 10:10 to be exact.
Here is 9 a.m.
9 8. See, wow, that's 11 hours.
Morning,
That's crazy.
morning. That's it. cold here. It's snowing. Snowstorm here in Finland.
In Finland, wow, it's not that cold here. I mean, right now it's okay. Like I could walk outside and I might grab a jacket, but it's not. It's okay. It's not too bad. No
We have a
snowstorms.
we have an endless winter here.
Wow,
Endless.
endless winter.
Yeah,
That would be difficult for somebody like me who's used to the heat.
yeah. I suppose in Brazil it's different. Endless summer all the time.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, thank you
Well,
guys for coming. I hope you guys have a good night.
good night.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Good night.